Hi guys, so my name is Elizabeth Elman and I wanted to ask you, imagine being in a foreign land and you're told that you're protecting your country and bombs are going off, you're shooting guns, you're killing bad guys, and you wonder, you're halfway around the world and is this really doing any good? So I just want to talk about how being in other countries and forcibly trying to fix other countries' problems is just not necessary, and these intentions can be better used in different ways, besides throwing ourselves at other places and trying to do patchwork, which is just not necessary. I grew up here in the US all my life. I've seen lots of news stories about Middle East, and though I have no veterans in my family, I still believe that it's just not necessary to have people go out into war and lives being sacrificed for political correctness and things like that. I hope today I can encourage you guys to see how the military can be better used instead of just thrown into other countries, and how they should no longer do that. First off, let's get into Vietnam. Soldiers were going into war and they believed that they were trying to fix things, and yet there was a public outcry back at home. Even in Vietnam and the soldiers' revolt, they talk about how it's unjust and unfair for the war being taken place, where back home there was a whole anti-war movement with public outcry, and just how not fair it was really, like, to put soldiers into a war that they had to just wait out and deal with because the country believed that it was necessary, when really on the long run it wasn't. Even for America trying to put democracy into another country, which is great and has great intentions, but they are competing with countries like Russia and China, which were still communist countries, and having to compete with them with democracy, when just next door is these communists, and they want to bring in their own ideologies to Vietnam. And America was just not prepared for something like that. I believe that if Vietnam was truly wanting these help from the US, they would have prepared, or they could have sought out help from the US. As I found in A War Too Long, Part 1, John S. White explains how just the length of time and effort that was put into there was just not necessary, and just something that the US just wasn't prepared for. Next, I wanted to get into the Middle East. And for the Middle East, I want to talk about how even when Obama came into administration, the Middle East was still having tension there, and it was only causing more problems at a certain point. Trying to stay there and fix things was just not well put out there, and there was only more problems arising from just being there, such as found America's response to the Arab Risings and U.S. foreign assistance in the era of ambiance, written in 2014. They claimed the U.S. was under great scrutiny around the world for doing foreign assistance there, and it was just looked down upon around the world. Also, environmentally, it was really destructive, since bombs are going off and all these things are going on around the land, such as in Iraq. And once was a place with the whole breadbasket of the Middle East turns into a demolished state where crops can no longer grow with the amount of chemicals that are around. And they had to end up sending 80% of their food sources into the country, as I found in America's Devastating Legacy of Endless Wars in the Middle East, written this year in 2021. Benham M. Reza says how the food chain has been distributed war-related toxins such as white phosphorus, mercury, and lead into the food, and just became a dangerous place to be in, and growing crops was just not possible. Also, financially, it was bad. I even have a little graph I can show you here. I hope you can see well. Basically, they show how the US was putting more money into the Middle East and how that was just not well done. Excuse me. Basically, the Middle East was spent with a lot of money and effort, and I believe that this money was just something that shouldn't have been spent there, even as I found in the non-intervention delusion, what war is good for. They show how, or they quoted, the cost of these wars have been extraordinary. At a rally in Ohio in April 2018, Trump estimated that $7 trillion was spent over 17 years, and concluded that the country was nothing to show but effort in for death and destruction there. And obviously that is not great. That is absolutely not necessary. And some better ways that this military could be used for is how we already hold a strong national authority, and the same authority can just be better spent on our defense from, there's other countries to worry about, such as North Korea, where we can't necessarily come in and just fix their issues. They could easily just start a war back in our land, and coming here and just working on our own defense system is a lot better spent than going into other countries and just doing harm to them. Also, I want to go over how domestic problems that happen in our country, such as hurricanes and just natural disasters like tornadoes, the military can come in and fix them, or not really fix them, but just by being helpful and just by being here. As I even found in the Title 10 Domestic Humanitarian Crisis, or Humanitarian Assistance in New Orleans, Iraqi Freedom Combat veterans patrolling the streets proved to be helpful in dealing with local criminal activity. So basically, the veterans, just by being around, they were able to prevent further crime from occurring. Overall, I hope that you can tell that so much negative issues with foreign assistance in the military can be better channeled to causing more positive outcomes in our own country. Where they mean good intentions in other countries, we have issues down here where we can make a better defense system and help out with different natural disasters that occur every year. And the US has already made it clear that we are strong nationally, but now, or internationally, and they should start making more efforts in stepping back and working on our own country. So, thank you for listening to my speech, and I hope you have a great day.